Greetings from the Philippines to the world. We are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and also on our streaming site, eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Eagle News. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me discover the latest news and information and business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. In the Philippines, there's more information that we know about the Western media than the news and information coming from Russia. Thus, it is a welcome development that representatives from various media organizations from Russia visited Eagle Broadcasting Corporation to share the wealth of sources of news and information on arts, culture, travel and tourism, current events, business, digital developments, and other significant events that are happening in that part of the world. In this episode of Open for Business, we will be able to get a peek of what makes Russian media unique in the world, which serves 11 time zones, 100 languages spoken by its multi-ethnic population. No less than the Deputy Minister of Digital Development, Communications, and Mass Media of the Russian Federation will share the best practices and standards of Russian media in the age of fake news and how our countries can take advantage of this partnership that can further strengthen our diplomatic ties. Mr. Alexei Volin will join us in the set when Open for Business returns.
For my next trick, mind reading. Paborito mo ang tender juicy hotdog, tama!
Walang duda, kids love Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Number 1 hotdog, kids can tell. Number 1 ang Tender Juicy.
Hey, it's Melissa with a simple reminder that a smile is a curved line that can make anything straight. You never know when a simple hi or a smile can brighten someone's day. In the words of George Eliot, wear a smile and have friends, wear a scowl and have wrinkles. What do we live for if not to make the world less difficult for each other? Don't forget to watch episodes of Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I'm Melissa Protest, EBC Orlando correspondent, and I am 1 with 25.
Soccer, the world's favorite sport. And it's no wonder. Spectacular goals. And plenty of emotion. The best of game day. Kickoff.
EBC management and executives received the Russian media delegation composed of professionals and practitioners from roughly RT TV Network, Sputnik News Agency, and Radio and Channel 1. Take a look. The exclusive interview with Mr. Alexei Volin, Deputy Minister of Digital Development, Communications and Mass Media of the Russian Federation, when we get back.
Ilan lamang ito sa mga makahalagang kaganapan na ating babalikan bago matapos ang taon. Pilipinas 2019. Muling tunghayan ang mga pangyayaring mataragdag sa pahina ng kasaysayan ng bansa. Pilipinas 2019. Ang year-ender report ng Eagle News Service. Ihahatid ng pinagsanib na puwersa ng Net25, Radyo Agila, eaglenews.ph at eaglenewslive.com. Pilipinas 2019. Abangan!
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
ASEAN in Focus, Monday to Friday, 2 to 2:30 p.m.
Welcome to Open for Business. I am Cesar Vallejos, and with Open for Business today is the Deputy Minister of Digital Development, Communications and Mass Media of the Russian Federation, Mr. Alexei Volin. Thank you very much for coming to the Open for Business set. You have with you a delegation of key personalities from key media organizations in Russia. And we are very excited to know more about Russian media. Can you give us a background, sir, of the media delegation coming over to the Philippines?
It's the most representative Russian media delegation which visited Philippines evermore. The delegation includes the representative of Russian worldwide spreading TV channel RT, Russia Today. There are also representatives of Rappler News Agency. This is the television news agency which collected and spreading information, original information from all over the world. And the idea of this agency is that just the native journalists from their own countries have the right to speak about the events which happens in their countries, because they know their situation, they know the tradition, they know the people, they know what really happens. Then we also have the representatives of Channel 1, the most influential and popular Russian TV channel. And Sputnik news agency. It's a Russian news agency operating worldwide. It products news on the radio programs on 32 languages. And all these people are ready to cooperate with our Filipino friends and Filipino partners.
So it's very interesting to know that and to learn more about Russian media. If you can give us, sir, a brief overview of Russian media here in the Philippines, of course, in terms of the penetration levels of TV, radio, internet, social media, especially with social media, it's really growing, but television is still the dominant media vehicle here in the Philippines. And because of the a lot of developments in the digital age, there's a shift in a lot of in the media landscape. What makes Russian media unique or different, or how can you describe the Russian media landscape, sir?
Well, I want to say that the situation in the global media practically the same, and we can see the shifting of the audience from the traditional spheres to the digital sphere. But on the same time, we can say that the digital, the internet, is just the sphere where the information, where the content is being spread. And the principle, the main principle, the content is the king, is still alive and it will alive. And we can understand that the main changes, for example, in the television, is that the television is not only broadcasting now. Television becomes the factory of content. And this content can be spread in the air, if it is air broadcasting.
Yes.
It can be spread in the cable. It can be spread as video on demand. It can be spread in internet, because very often the representatives of younger generation told, we are not watching TV, we're getting information from internet. Then you ask them, and what do you get from internet? And as usual, this is the product which can be produced by television.
That's right.
In Russia, the main audience, the main source of information for the audience is also still television, because 90% of Russian people are still watching TV. At the same time, more than 70% of Russian people are internet users. They are active internet users. They also customers of social media. They also watching various bloggers, various internet sites, digital media. But as usual, if we speak, for example, about the social media, we can see that the main content is being produced by the traditional media. And we can describe this because the main problem of the present moment is the fake news.
That's right.
And people want to get reliable information.
That's right.
What is the character key feature of the traditional media? It's the reputation.
Correct.
Because if you have reputation, you are the source of the reliable information. If you lost your reputation, you are no more the source of the reliable information.
And you lose that credibility overnight.
Immediately. And that's why the representative traditional media, they're paying a lot of activity to verify the information which they're preparing to spread.
Just a follow-up question on that, sir. Being the deputy director of that agency, a government body, I know who's handling this or overseeing this. What are your specific initiatives to make sure that a proper verification of data or information is really implemented?
Well, the main principle of our work, we are not interrupting into the activity of the media. We are creating the rules, and we help to create the normal economic conditions where the national media can be developed. We help them with their contacts with their foreign partners. But how they produce the media, how they produce the news, how they produce the content, we don't want to interfere there, because our media are free, and we even don't have a right to control what they're doing with this. We only want to say that the reputation and publicity are the most important things which make them to pay a lot of attention to the right news and to the correct news. Because the mistake costs a lot of audience.
That's right.
And the competitionship in this sphere is so high. The number of sources is so big that certainly they have no right to make serious mistakes with the fake news.
Wow, that's very interesting, sir. Now, the question is, because you mentioned about, of course, the freedom of these media agencies to operate in terms of their own production and content. Now, sir, can you describe also in terms of ownership, is the trend in Russia now, with all the media content providers privatized, and in terms of the dominance also, are there also, what's the role of the national or state-owned TV stations? So what's the balance between the ownership of media
Okay, I
entities?
can tell you that at the present moment there are 80,000 media which have been registered in Russia Federation.
Wow, 80,000?
80,000. 100 of them belongs to the state.
Only 100.
Yes, because there is the state television, state news agencies, state newspaper, and then we have the provinces. And in every province you also have the local TV channel, which belongs to the governmental officials, and we also call them a state. But certainly we should separate, because there is the federal media belongs to the state, and there is the local media belongs to the state. And sometimes, the same thing in the Philippines, the interest of the federal center, of the national center, and the interest of the local governments are different.
Correct.
Most of media belongs to the private. Then we see that the influence of independent bloggers are rising from day to day.
They're growing, yes.
And some of them even not register themselves as media.
Correct.
But they're very much popular. For example, we have several bloggers with audience more than 6 million people.
Wow.
And when sometimes we have discussions with the representatives of our media, and some people told we need more money to product more interesting content because the competitionship is very high, as usual we used to say, look, there is a blogger. He doesn't have a lot of studios
and access
or cameras because he's
Sometimes
working.
just a
Yes,
cell phone.
he is working with cell phone. He worked with his note, and he is broadcasting from internet, and he has 6 million subscribers.
And his office is
Yes.
his home.
Yes. And what is his base? Does he need money for product content? No, he needs brains. And at the present moment, the brains are more important than money.
Love it. I love that, sir. Now, sir, speaking of content and brains, what is the content of Russian media that you wanted to really inform the world to really know about? Because, like, for example, here in the Philippines, we love access to information, we love news, and there's a lot of Filipinos in different parts of the world. That's why we wanted to get as much news and information from different parts of the world. And also, we love entertainment. So we have a lot of educational entertainment shows with EBC in Russia, and I think that's where one of the purposes of the Russian delegation is to come up with at least information exchange or any partnerships. What content is Russian media or Russian people looking for?
It's very important that you say that we want to cooperate not only in news, but in media content, because media content is much wider than news. And if we analyze the media consumption in Russia, we will see that the most popular content at the present moment, media content, is serials. TV serials.
Okay.
The audience of TV serials is much more than the audience of news programs.
Okay, I think we have this similar demographic.
Then, if we analyze the structure of news, we will see that the news connecting with entertainment, with culture, with sport, have the same popularity as the news about politics or economy. Because certainly, sometimes it's interesting for the people what the presidents or prime ministers or ministers doing. But more importance has the information about everyday life of the people. The situation with their money, with their education, with their health, and with their free time, because entertainment certainly is very important now.
Yeah, but just a follow-up question on that, sir. What's the demographics? Because with all this content on entertainment, culture, sports, how can you describe the demographic profile of the Russian viewers?
From 2 years who are watching cartoons till 90 years who sometimes also watching cartoons.
And because you have a very high penetration profile, you have 90%. Is this households or total population?
90% of total population who are watching TV, and 80% of total population who are internet users.
Yes, and that's also high. That's high. 70%. You mentioned that's also
70% regular regular internet customers.
Okay. Going back to the content that you mentioned, sir. So you said news, media content, and they are really after entertainment, culture, sports. What other factors do you think that make them stick to watching television and going online?
On my mind, we can say that most of TV viewers watching films and TV programs, and the news is something like one of the dishes, but not the main dish.
Okay.
In internet, certainly, the main audience watching weather, sport, entertainment, some practical information, what to buy, where to go, some political news, some economic news. And we saw that there are several topics, popularity of them are rising from day to day. It's medicine and education.
Wow, and medicine and education.
Yes.
I see.
Because everybody is thinking about his health, and everybody want to help to his children to be more educated. And then the role of self-education is also increasing because the basic knowledges are changing so rapidly.
That's right.
That you cannot survive basing only on the knowledge which you get in the institute which you graduated, for example, 10 years ago.
Correct. Correct.
You need to get more knowledge about your profession, about the things which happens around you. For example, look at this smartphone.
Okay.
It's no elder, smartphone itself. It's no elder than 15 years. 15 years ago, there were no smartphones at all.
Exactly. The mobile broadcasting started maybe just 3-5 years ago or 6 years ago.
And now we understand that a lot of population consume content via smartphone. So all the people who graduated the media institutes and the media colleges more than 10 years ago, they heard nothing about how to form the content to smartphone.
Yes.
Because we understand that the forming of content for smartphone is even different than the forming the content for the Note.
Yes.
It's even different than the forming the content for the big screen.
That's right. That's right. And there's a special way to engage people using the smartphone. With that note, are you saying, sir, that there's also a shift of media content news towards this new devices and new ways of presenting news and media content? Not only for the Russian population and audience, but throughout the world.
Yes, it's absolutely new trend, and we understand that beforehand you produced the news for the person. But now you certainly, finally, you're producing the news for the person. But you should produce the various newses for the devices. Because you should analyze and you should understand what device will be used. That's one thing. Another thing is the spreading of information is changed. Beforehand, there was the line spreading information. It means that you are the broadcaster, you broadcast the signal, the people directly watching what did you produce. Now, there is the virus spreading of information. It means that you are spreading information as a broadcaster, but the number of the people who are sharing your information practically the same as the number of the people who are directly getting your information. And it means that if you want your information to be successful and to be spread all over the country, you need to produce the information in the form which should be shared by the people. They want to send this to Facebook, to WhatsApp, to Twitter. They want to quote it, they want to send it from one to another, and that's the absolutely new form of the work, because it's changing even the situation with the officials. Beforehand, you can write the press release, for example. Very official. It can be told. The minister have the negotiations with the foreign delegation and they discuss a lot of important things. This information can be broadcasted. But now you won't find anybody who will share this very official information written in bureaucratic language.
That's right.
You need the short forms. You need the information should be interesting. You should pack it in proper way so the people will try to share it. Otherwise, it die.
That's right. And on that, we see the democratization, as they say, of information, that anybody can be producers. So in your case, is the trend in Russia also towards user-generated content?
I'm skeptical about user-generated content as general, as I'm also skeptical about the opportunity of everybody to be producer. For example, everybody, even 10 years ago, and even 30 years ago, and even now, everybody can write. But it doesn't mean that he is a writer.
Yes, correct.
The same thing. You need to have a talent.
That's right.
And unfortunately, not everybody have a talent to be a writer, and not everybody have a talent has a talent to be a producer.
That's right. But bloggers or video bloggers can produce content even if they cannot write, because sometimes all you have to show is how authentic that video is.
The same thing with writers. A person can write the letters and even the words. It doesn't mean that he write a book. The same thing with blogger. Blogger can produce something. It doesn't mean that this is the film or this is the program. It's just some video. Yes, I can produce a thing that I'm drinking water and the life of my dog, of my cat, and what I'm eating or drinking and where I'm going. It doesn't mean that this is a journalist.
That's right.
So only few people finally, only few bloggers finally can have the popularity. But certainly, if person is popular, if he has something to say, or he can to do something interesting things, it's a very important thing, because we can remember the situation with President Trump, when a lot of traditional media were against him, and there was the war of silence around his activity. What did he do? He told, okay, I'll connect directly to my people with my Twitter, with social networks, and he became one of the most popular media in the United States.
That's right. I hope we have a lot of time to spend with our guest this afternoon, but I just have a few questions before we finish this interview. You said, I think earlier, or some of the members of the delegation said, Russians may not be able to point directly where the Philippines is, but they know who our president is. So how can you expand more on this, sir?
Well, as far as you know, the Russian president is a strong guy. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of strong guys in the world politics now. But your president, he is also a strong guy.
Okay.
And certainly, it's a very good base for the sympathy of Russian people. Because we suppose that the leaders should be strong and popular. Sometimes the leaders can struggle, and that's also very important. We know that it was a rather controversial reaction in the world to the policy of President Duterte against the drug dealers. But in Russia, we know that the drug is the absolute evil. And in the struggle against this absolute evil, all the instruments can be used, and all the instruments which help us to eliminate this evil are good.
So we have definitely an alignment. Two more questions to you, sir. What is your outlook of the media for 2020 for the Russian market and also for the global market? And of course, later on, I'll ask you to address our audiences on the cooperation of the Philippines and Russia. On your outlook on media in 2020.
The media in 2020 will be the same as the media in 2019.
Okay.
So the most important thing that this is multimedia. You don't have nowadays the pure media. There is no pure television.
Yes.
There is no pure newspaper.
Correct.
You cannot imagine the newspaper which lives only in paper.
Yes. But do you think print will die eventually?
No, it
okay.
won't die. It will survive, but the newspaper is much more than only the printed version, because the influential and developing newspaper means that this is the long read on the paper. It's the site with every hour renewing information in internet. During the interview, you can make some photos. And there are the photos, digital photos, which can be spread also on internet. It can be some short video films, because if something happens which was shooted by the correspondent by cell phone, by smartphone, and we know that the present camera in the smartphone, it's high definition, and some smartphones also have 4K.
Yes.
It's professional.
It's even better now. So sometimes, you know, the shots are very clear.
It's professional. And it means that you have the multimedia product in the newspaper. The same thing with television. The television consists not only in the broadcasting. The television consists in the internet. The television also can be consisted as the printed version of our interview, because what is the most important thing today in our life? More important than money. It's our time.
That's right. And speaking,
because there is only 24 hours in the day, and your customers, they should have the option whether to watch our interview and to spend all the time of the interview, or to read our interview, because the podcast is very important now.
That's right.
And if you don't want to spend a lot of your time, you can watch what is being printed in the written version of your product.
Okay. Sir, you yourself is a veteran as an editor, junior editor, TV producer. What is your advice to journalists and news producers and to all of us here at the studio?
Be interesting. Be interesting to the audience, and don't afraid anything.
On that note, I'd like to ask you, sir, to give your message to the Filipino audience watching here today. What's your message to them, especially to the Filipinos who are longing for Russian content, news and Russian content?
I want to say to the Filipino people that we want to cooperate with Philippines, because Philippines is a wonderful country with wonderful people, and we love these people. Thank you so much.
That's Mr. Alex Sivolin, Deputy Minister of Digital Development, Communications and Mass Media of the Russian Federation. Thank you for watching Open for Business. This is Cesar Vallejos. Have a great day. Thank you.
Mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga OFWs sa Middle East at North Africa, may good news kami para sa inyo. Mapapanood na ninyo ang Net25 at iba pang Filipino channels na hatid ng OSN sa presyong abot kaya. Libre na ang box at installation, walang admin fees at no extra charges. Saktong entertainment na sakto lang sa budget mo. Bumisita na sa pinakamalapit na OSN store o dealer. And subscribe now! Sa Net25 at OSN, siguradong at home ka dito.
Events happen around us all the time. In our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Letters and Music, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 hanggang 2:00 ng hapon.
In our term or phrase of the week, you take a refresher of business terms to make you updated, more informed, and ready to make smarter business decisions. Our term of the week is newswire. A news agency or a newswire is an organization that gathers news reports and sells them to subscribing news organizations such as newspapers, magazines, and radio and television broadcasters. A news agency may also be referred to as a wire service, newswire, or news service. Although there are many news agencies around the world, 3 global news agencies, Agence France Presse, Associated Press, and Reuters, have offices in most countries of the world and cover all areas of information. And our word of the week is from Thomas Sowell. He said, "If people in media cannot decide whether they are in the business of reporting news or manufacturing propaganda, it is all the more important that the public understand that difference and choose their news sources accordingly." Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, and industry experts promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business, and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News, and you can watch us again in the video section of the Eagle News Facebook page on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Eagle News. For Open for Business, this is Cesar Vallejos. Have a great day.
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
Ilan lamang ito sa mga makahalagang kaganapan na ating babalikan bago matapos ang taon. Pilipinas 2019. muling tunghayan ang mga pangyayaring mataragdag sa pahina ng kasaysayan ng bansa. Pilipinas 2019. Ang year-ender report ng Eagle News Service. Ihahatid ng pinagsanib na puwersa ng Net25, Radyo Agila, eaglenews.ph at eaglenewslive.com. Pilipinas 2019. Abangan!
Malaking tulong para sa mga magsasaka at mga farm owner ang tinatawag na agri-tourism.
Bukod sa tumataas ang produksyon ng pagkain, umaangat din ang kabuhayan ng mga magsasaka dahil sa dumarami ang mga bumibisita sa mga taniman.
Iba't iba makikita sa mga bukirin o farm sa ngayon. Kaya naman gumagawa ng hakbang ang pamahalaan para tangkilikin ang mga mamamayan pati na ng mga turista.
Gaya ng tropical fruit farms kung saan makikita ang iba't ibang puno o fruit-bearing trees.
Farm resorts na ma-e-enjoy lalo't mga taniman ang iyong makikita na nilagyan din ng iba't ibang mapapasyalan.
Organic farms, kung saan makikita ang mga tanim na palay at gulay, pati na rin ang mga taniman ng prutas na pwedeng ikaw mismo ang pumitas.
At sa farm tourism, syempre mayroon ding food menu. Pagkapitas ng napili mong inaning bunga,